So, um, I realized realized that I am still healing. um, this is very triggering, so it's trigger warning, and this is not for kids, okay? Not for children. This is not for people that are going through a separation or divorce from a spousal abuse. All right, here we go. I got to do this because not a lot of women talk about this, and I have to. This is not for you all to feel sorry for me or anything like that. Okay? This is part of my healing. This is another reason why I started my YouTube channel back in December of 2018. All right. So, watching I love bodybuilding, as you guys know. I love to work out, except lately because the puppies and everything, Lola came to my life. You that know the story. Took a break, and then I had some surgery on my foot, etc. Gonna have more surgery on my neck this time, and my both hands, carpal tunnel. But I love bodybuilding, so I'm like, oh, cool. There's a new movie on Netflix. Netflix. I'm like, okay, it's called Killer Sally. Um, so I my father was a bodybuilder. He had a bunch of magazines of bodybuilding. He would do calisthenics in front of me, squats without weights. He was very strong. He also did some boxing, and he would give me like raw eggs in the morning. And he says, "Mama, you have to eat spinach, mijita, so you can get Popeye's arms, los brazos de Popeye." And he would always go, flex his arms and his biceps, and he'd kiss his bicep, right? And he'd say, "Mis gatos, mija, touch my gatos." And so I got that from my dad. Every time I pose, I'm like posing with my left hand, my left arm, and kissing my cat, right? My arm. And just in remembrance of him. So it has nothing to do with sex kitten altar and nothing like that. Um, so I was watching this movie, and like I said, trigger warning. In the beginning of I was only able to watch one episode. And so this lady, she's a bodybuilder. She used to be in the Marine Corps, I believe. She used to get beat up by her husband, Ray something. He was invited to what is it, Mr. Olympian. So I'm like, oh, cool. It's gonna be about that, and it brought back memories of when I had just graduated the academy. I'm like, I had been training. I had the police academy. I had been training. I took jujitsu, heavy, squats and deadlifts and pull-ups and bench press. I was benching, gosh, what was it? 185, and I was weighing 165 back then. Deadlifting 165 as well. And so I was like, yeah, it's gonna be like that. And then Mr. Olympia, one of the Mr. Olympia men were there, and I got second place in deadlift, and he said, "Man, you would have gotten second place except your arms were too close. You got to put them narrow. Your pinky has to be, you know, so far away from the ring thing." And I'm like, "Damn it! I could have got second place. Competing against these bodybuilding these women. Man, they were huge and just really strong, and here I am, muscular but skinny ass, like, I did it though, I did it. I always wanted to do something like that. And that day, I wanted my kids to be there, but they both had soccer. They were kids, very, very young. I'd say, I don't know, maybe 9, 8, something like that. Maybe my daughter's 7 and my son 8 or 9, I don't know. So I told my ex, I said, hey, what are we going to do? Because they have soccer games. And I said, I really want them to go with me. Let's just, I really want their support. He said, no, I'll take them. So he took them. I was there alone. Um, but I did it, and anyway, the other day, this has happened to me many, many times. I'm making my junk journals or painting the bottles, and I get all excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna come out great. And then I do some awesome things, and then I'm like, God dang it, I can't think no more. Like, I get anxious because I'm a perfectionist. It's like, what if it doesn't come out right? What if people don't buy them? What if, this and this and that? I am very grateful for my daughter and my friends because she supports me and my son. My daughter's always saying, oh my gosh, like, why don't people buy this? This is, some people do, but she's like, Mom, this is antique. This is not going to be around, much. And I'm like, yeah, you never know. With these things happening right now, they might end up saying no more, you can't buy no more paper. So what ends up happening is I throw everything in boxes when I can't stand clutter. I cannot stand clutter. And this comes from abuse of when my mother was married to her husband. Her, because my dad, he took his life when I was 13 because they had a lot of marital problems. And both physical and verbal abuse on both ends. Cheating on both ends, Mainly when my mom would do it, he would move us. He would move us from place to place. He moved us from Nogales, Sonora. Well, I was born in Nogales, Sonora, and when I was a year, we moved to Nogales, Arizona. Then we moved here to Tucson. Then after Tucson, so many schools, so many mobile home parks, and then so we could never afford a freaking house. So we never had our room. My sisters, my two sisters, and I had to share. So my mother was married to this guy. His name, of all names, was Jesus, the Mexican dude. He would beat her up. I'd have to call the cops. It's like, motherfucker. God damn it, man. It's the fucking weekend, and I had to be in the room with my sisters because my mom said he's acting out and blah, blah, blah. I had to call the cops. And so that one day that one day when I couldn't stand it no more, I told the cop, I said, I'm either going to be a doctor or a police officer when I grow up. I was like 14 at the time. I had run away from home 3 times. Anyway, so what happens to me is I have to put things in boxes because I can't stand the clutter. And then I can't think. And then when we would have to go out with my mom and him, quinceañeras, weddings, whatever, birthdays, especially the holidays, he would fuck up the holidays all the time, always mad at the holidays. So it's really, really triggering for me. I don't like to celebrate anything, but, my family, we get together. So I'll start putting on a piece of clothing, my makeup, and then even when, I'm going to tell you something, even a secret, like when I'm doing YouTube videos, I make a mess because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if, I leave a mess. I know nobody lives with me that tells me, you got to put this away or whatever. And just my mind goes, and then after the videos, I'm like, fuck, it's a mess in the bathroom, the rollers are here, the makeup's over here, the clothes is over here. And then I got my junk journal stuff, and I'm like, okay, so I put everything in boxes. And the other day, I had family that was going to come over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a mess on the table. There's clutter everywhere. What are they going to think of me? They never judge me, obviously, because they're here. They always say, we're here to visit you, mom, daughter. And I just freaked out, man. I'm like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why do I start, organizing, and I organize one part of the room and then the other, forget it, and it's just a mess. But I have stuff in boxes, so it's okay, Lola. She's hugging me. It's okay. So it's all right. It's okay. So I was watching this watching Killer Sally, and so she ends up killing her husband because for years and years he's freaking beating her ass up and everything, and she's strong. And the movie goes like this: she would get paid $300 to wrestle men in a hotel or wherever, and it was nothing sexual. No sex ever happened or whatever. So one time he really, he's broken her nose before, this movie, all kinds of stuff. So she ends up shooting him. I'm like, God dang, I don't blame her. I could not watch another episode. It reminded me of when before I went to the police academy, my ex-husband said, "Are you sure you want to be a cop? Why don't you let me get my best friend to give you a job as a jumper, millions of money." And then I had to, we had one gun. I had one gun, a Beretta, and they didn't even give us the Kevlar, breastplates. No security, nothing. And even the trucks, they weren't even freaking glass proof or nothing. And he's like, "Yeah, man, you gotta prove it to me that you really want to be a cop." I'm like, "Really, motherfucker?" I did it. Well, so I did that for 3 months, and then boom, I got hired to go in the police academy. So during this time, I was taking jujitsu at the same time, training, and it was really hard, really, really hard, because I was married to a police officer back then, and they said, "Oh, look at so and so. She's married to a cop. She thinks she's going to graduate." All this shit happened, but I did it. Now, during the time before this and after I graduated, he would wrestle me. It was really hard. So he would wrestle me. The memories came back, I was trying to forget. But I know my subconscious is bringing this up so that I can heal. And hopefully this can help you guys too. Men or women. It's all around. So he would wrestle with me. And he would make me choke. And he even did this before we got married. So he's been doing this all along. And I thought, oh, yeah. Because he would say, "Yeah, I'm training you. You got to defend yourself, blah, blah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Well, dumbass me, I didn't know it was abuse. And here he is wrestling me, choking me out, and then slapping me to wake my ass up because I had passed out. And I told myself, I'm not going to pass out. I'm going to keep breathing slow. I'm not going to pass out. So anyway, this would happen. And then he did something to one of my family members, which I'm not going to say nothing because I respect him, and I'm not going to say who. And I ended up calling a certain 3-letter alphabet fucking soup. They didn't do shit. They didn't do shit. It's a man's world, James Brown says. Well, fuck that. No offense, but god dang it. Always suppressing the feminine energy, you know what I'm saying? It's not right. So this movie has got me up here talking to you guys. And I highly suggest, I know I'm doing it for myself. I had already gotten rid of some of the pictures, our pictures. But one time I asked a family member, "Hey, I still have a few. Would you like them?" She's like, "Oh, hell no." I'm like, "All right." So watching this is very triggering for me. And I'm about to rip up those fucking pictures, and it's not right. It's not right. I'm not gonna say any names, but you that know me, enough is fucking enough. That's all I gotta say for now.